Hey, what's up? I'm Rafael Di Furia, aka Rafi D is me, and I am back at it again on another beautiful Friday night. And this week we are going to talk about the subject that is in the title of this video, as we generally always do. Because recently I got a question from a viewer, actually it was from my last video where I showed you guys my new town. And it had to do with living in Italy as a foreigner. But before we get into that question and before we get too much deeper into this video, if you would like to see more content like this about moving to Italy, Italian dual citizenship, and living life abroad, please be sure to subscribe with that notification bell turned on. And if you could also give this video a like, I'd really appreciate it, as it does help out the channel. But if you'd like to help out the channel in another way, on a monthly basis, you can go to rafaeldifuria.com/Patreon, or if you can help out just one time, rafaeldifuria.com/support, or if you're interested in showing your support in another way and also helping to make videos possible, you can go to rafaeldifuria.com/NYAG gear for shirts, mugs, baby onesies, and more. All of the links are down below. And just before we get a little too much deeper into this video, for those of you who are regular viewers, I'm not saying a Rome video is happening, but I'm not saying that a Rome video is not happening either. But if for some reason a Rome video were to happen, my question to you would be, if you were to go visit Rome, what would you want to do? What would you want to see? What would you want to experience? Let me know down in the comment section below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Time to bust out the glasses. It's that time again. All right, from Arta D. She left a comment on my video last week saying, "Hi, I am planning to study law in Milan. I love law and I'm sure I'm going to be one of the best lawyers." Always got to stay positive. "But I am thinking I will be foreign Muslim in Italy, and maybe people would not trust me with their litigation cases, or maybe the court might not be fair to me. I don't know how people view this subject or how people will view me." I'm kind of adding in a few extra words here just to clarify her point, just because the English here is just not necessarily so clear. "Do you think I should be worried about that?" I'll just quickly read what I answered to her, but I would like to actually expand upon that a bit more in this video today. So my answer was, it's a difficult question with an even more difficult answer, and yes, very difficult. But regardless of religion, race, sex, or whatever, across the globe, it's basic human nature that people trust their own more than they trust outsiders. This is also true for people here in Italy, and I see many people judged based on their look. Just to add a little bit more, even I get judged based on the way that I look. I'll get into that later in the video, but just to finish this off, based off of their look, their nationality, or even their name. Again though, this is not unique to Italy, and this is something that I have personally seen in quite a few places across the world. I've lived in a number of countries, and everywhere I go, and just actually to make something really clear, in this video, this is not about being Muslim. It's not about being a specific thing. I'm going to speak about my experience, but I would say the adjective of what I am or what you are, or your nationality, whatever it is that makes you you, whatever those words are to describe what makes up your outward appearance, who you are maybe partially on the inside, and your identity. This is all interchangeable. So if I say something about being American, insert your nationality there. If I say something about the color of my skin, put your skin color there. Okay, there are times when there may be differences, but at the end of the day, outsiders, there is this idea of your own kind, one of your own kind, stick with your own kind, just to quote an old song. But no matter where you go, there are those people who are from there and those people who are from abroad, from away, or even just another town, another city. For example, when I lived in the state of Washington, there was a brief period of time where I lived in this small little town up in the middle of nowhere, not far from the Canadian border. 900 people. Tiny little place. God, I can't even believe I lived there. Anyway, besides the point. But there were people that were from this little tiny town in this valley, and there were times when the locals, the people who are actually born there, from there, raised there, who had been there maybe a couple generations, their family that was their home. They had a feeling towards people who had moved into town, even if they had been living there 20, 30 years. And I knew a number of people who had been living in this town, that they had moved there. And this was becoming a place that people were starting to move to because it was a beautiful, gorgeous part of Washington state. But it was still very quiet and very out of the way. which was another reason why people like that area, and a lot of tourists also. But I had heard stories on multiple occasions of the locals saying to people who had come there, oh, well, you're not from here, I don't have to be nice to you. That was the mentality of the people from that area. And even here in Italy, in Alto Adige, I'm thinking about getting into some of the reasons why I left Alto Adige. If you guys are interested in that video, I've talked about a little bit of it, but I haven't really gone into so much detail. If you're interested in that kind of video, let me know down in the comment section below. But even there, they have a mentality that this is partially to do with them being under Italian control. Even some would say Italian occupation, but I'm not going to go that far. Like I've had students who've told me, well, why do you think we speak dialect? We don't want outsiders. We don't want outsiders becoming part of our groups. We don't want those other people becoming us. We want to keep us as us. We don't like outsiders. We don't want outsiders. But the funny thing is that the outsiders are probably the biggest way that region actually brings in money. It's a different subject for a different day. If you go to a smaller town, of course, people will be feeling a certain way towards outsiders. But if you might be going to an area where maybe an event has happened with a person who may be a part of a potential group, I'm not saying specific groups, I'm saying, let's use the example here of, say you are an American and you go to the middle of nowhere. Nobody's ever met an American before. They may not have a preconception of you other than what they've maybe seen on TV. So you might have a great experience there. They might be welcoming to you. But if other Americans have been to that area and have sullied the good name of the American people, and they've had a lot of experience with loud, boisterous Americans who come in and take over and just don't make an effort to really take in the local culture, to take in the local town, then you might get people who are less open to those outsiders. No matter what group you are a part of, there are preconceptions about that group. Americans, like I was saying, loud, boisterous, dressing poorly. Although the more that I'm saying, maybe the more that I'm seeing, actually there could be truth to that. But again, another subject for another day. And I've heard this from people from other countries. I've heard this statement from Russians, from Chinese people, from Germans that, oh, I'm in another country and I see people from my country and it's just, oh, it's so embarrassing. It makes me feel embarrassed to be one of them, to be the same. There are certain things like I can spot an American on the street by the way that they're dressing, by the way that they carry themselves. They don't even have to open their mouth. Just by those simple things. Even with the way that Americans dress, there is kind of this uniform that a lot of Americans fit into. I mean, there's probably, say, 5, 6 of these uniforms with their little variations in between. But even the same thing can go for Germans. I can spot Germans from a mile away. French, Spanish, like it's not that hard. Okay, Spanish probably blend in with Italians a little bit more, but if they're from certain parts of Spain, then by the way they dress, you can very easily tell. But again, these are preconceptions that even I have of people where they come from. No, not everybody fits into these things, but generalizations are something that humans do. And so when you are in Italy, or it really actually doesn't even matter where you are, it could be Italy, it could be another place, people may treat you a certain way because of how they think you might be, because of how they think people a part of your group might be. Even when I walk down the street in the Middle East, people have treated me a certain way, or even walking down the streets of Alto Adige or walking down in Madrid. There are always certain things that people think of Americans. I can speak enough Italian to get around. I can speak enough Spanish to get around. I can speak enough German to get around. But when I open my mouth, I have an accent. I don't speak the languages well. People can tell that these are not my first languages. Again, people sometimes can tell where you're from without you opening your mouth. And just for my own example of being American, people assume, American, money bags, gold is lining their pocket. They think these certain things. And so I've had experiences where clearly the person is like, this is an American, I can get money from them, I can sell them things for 20 times the price that I could sell it to a local. But then you open your mouth and you use their language and you tell them that you live there. After they start speaking to you in English, then you speak to them in their language and they're like, what the hell, man, what you're confusing me here, how do you know my language? Then you can get a little flexible on prices sometimes, although maybe not in Germany. Maybe Germany, they're a little bit more straight when it comes to these sorts of things. But I hope you get the basic idea that I'm going for here. So if you look a certain way, yes, people may treat you a certain way. And there are people that say, yes, Italians have certain ways towards certain peoples of certain groups. But that's anywhere you go. If you want to talk about racism, It exists everywhere in this world, unfortunately. And it's not exclusive to one group or another. The idea of racism in and of itself is something that goes beyond race, and it's a human thing, unfortunately. And so the question that I mentioned earlier in the video, again, this is something that I've been asked before. Not necessarily about her specific group, but I have been asked about her specific group before, but I've been asked about all different kinds of groups of people. And this is probably going to be the video that when I get this question again in the future, this is the link that I will be sending you. So if you ask me this question and you're seeing this video, thanks for sticking around. I hope this has kind of cleared things up. But again, in my videos, I don't want to give you the final answer because in a lot of cases, there is no final answer. And I'm generalizing. In your experience, each individual person is going to treat you in their each individual own way. You could be in a cafe somewhere, someone's going to treat you like gold and the other person's going to treat you like dirt. It doesn't matter where you are and what you are. But if you don't fit into those preconceptions that that person may have, that's not your problem. That's theirs. But it does kind of fall onto your shoulders to maybe change their mind, but never do that forcefully. Just be a person. If you're human, treat other humans like humans. End of story. And if you would like to see more videos like this about moving to Italy, Italian dual citizenship, and living life abroad, please be sure to subscribe with that notification bell turned on. And if you could also give this video a like, I'd really appreciate it as it does help out the channel. And of course, if you would like to help make more videos like this possible and help the channel to be able to continue on a monthly basis, you can go to raffaelodifuria.com/Patreon. Or if you'd like to help out just once, you can go to raffaelodifuria.com/support. Or for jeans, mugs, baby onesies, and more, be sure to go to raffaelodifuria.com/NYAG gear. And of course, thank you for joining me on another beautiful Friday night. I hope you all have a great weekend, and I look forward to seeing you all next Friday. Later.